Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I know long time no see, but I'm excited to talk to you guys about some of the cosplay masks that I've made. And in this video, we're going to specifically focus on Bane and Spawn. So just in case you're wondering why I chose these two oddly specific characters to make masks for, my husband wanted to cosplay as both of them on separate occasions, and they just so happened to be able to use the same template, and I want to talk about how I created the mask for both of them. Before we get into the details, I think it's really important for you guys to see my first attempt. Now, I do like to poke fun at myself a little bit because that first mask looks like shit, but I hung in there and I kept trying and I eventually ended up getting this. Now, that's one hell of a before and after, but that's what this video is for. I want to talk about how I got here. So I decided to ditch the polymorph, which is like a moldable plastic, and try to use EVA foam instead. And even with that, it was kind of tricky. So the first template I tried to use didn't really come together too well. So I tried it one more time before giving up, and I'm so glad I did because here's the difference. So I'm sure you guys can tell the huge difference between the old mask and this one, and I felt like I cracked the code and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna use the same method for every mask from here on out, and that's exactly what I did. So like I mentioned earlier, I used the same template to make the Spawn and the Bane mask, and I want to elaborate on that. So this is the template that I ended up using, and I'll show you guys where I got it from. So you can basically take this template, and what you want to do is make it poster size. And if you have a MacBook like me, there's apps you can download to help you. Then you want to cut out that template and tape it together. Now, before I get ahead of myself, what you want to do is go onto YouTube and type in Spawn foam helmet, and you're going to find this video. Click on the description box, and he has a link to this template, and I believe you have to pay for it, but it's very cheap. If you're looking for something that's beginner friendly, I would highly suggest going and watching his video because it's very detailed and the instructions are very clear and he takes his time. So what he's doing here is taking his cutout template and he's tracing it onto 5mm EVA foam. So we're going to do that on white. Now fast forward, these are all my pieces cut and glued together, but I did want to stop you guys for a very important detail here. If you want to go with the Spawn mask, you can actually go right through beginning to end with the tutorial. But if you want to make a Bane mask, what you're going to do is find this piece right here, and you're going to have to tweak that piece so that it covers the entire mouth. Here's a close-up photo so you guys can see in detail what I'm talking about. His is the one in the pink and mine is the one in the white. And as you guys can see where the mouth is, my piece covers that area. So please keep in mind, if you want to make a Bane mask, you're going to need to cover the mouth. So you will have to trace that same piece twice. That way you can get a mirrored image on both sides. And you're going to notice a slit down the center. Don't even worry about it because we are doing something extra. You'll still go ahead and fill it with Coke, but I'm going to show you what separates my masks from the other ones that I've seen. So this right here is my secret weapon. This is foam clay. Now, depending on what brand you get and where you get it from, it can either be kind of sticky or it can kind of be soft and bouncy like Play-Doh. Either way, it is very malleable. It is stretchy. I really like the material and it dries very quickly. So I'm able to sculpt and mold with this. And this is my secret to adding detail on all my masks. This is exactly how I made my Predator mask as well. I did use black and white foam clay, and what I like to do is sit it in front of a fan overnight and let it dry. Then after it's dry, I go in and take some low grit sandpaper and just sand it down by hand so I can smooth away most of the bumps. It's impossible to get them all, but try to get it as smooth as you can. Now before you get to the painting, you do want to seal this with Flexbond. For some reason, I just don't have that footage, so just please keep that in mind. After it's sealed, you can go in and just paint like normal. This is where I add additional details and I try to make it as smooth as possible. I'm just using regular acrylic paint, and this was a satin one, and I really like this because it gave the sheen and texture of an actual mask. Alright, so I'm aware that this looks very questionable, but what I have is 2 pieces of rectangular mesh that is see-through, and I have it taped onto a paper plate and I'm just painting it red. These are actually going to be for the eyes. I love using just a thin mesh material because it's super easy to see through. Now you can just sit these out and let them dry for maybe an hour, but I was trying to rush and I didn't have an hour, so you can take a blow dryer and speed up the process. Now before I even add the mesh to those eyes, I want to take this mask and seal in that paint. So you can just use a paint sealer, anything you could find at either Walmart or your local craft store. Now because this was a custom commission mask, I did want to add something special to it. That way they could be surprised once they figured it out. So these are pretty much all the same steps I use to make all of my masks. So all the way from my first Spawn mask, my Predator mask, and now this Bane mask. So this is my tried and true method for mask making. I did want to show you guys this one. You can see the breathing holes here that I'm touching. This has stitching in it, is way more detailed, but this was for my husband's most recent Bane cosplay and he loved it. And I know the inside looks a little bit tacky, but you know what? If it ain't broken, don't fix it. It holds together just fine. Well, that about wraps everything up. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you use the comment section below, and a sneak peek for the next video, because you guys know I always like to lead you on. This Kid Boo mask I will go over in detail. So if you're interested, make sure you subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.